guys, we are out here in the shop today. Today we're going to be working on Sunshine. We're going to be taking a step backwards in order to go forwards. At least that's what we're hoping to accomplish, what we're going to do today. What we're going to do is, we're going to take off Sunshine's GT35 turbos, these eBay turbos. Don't worry, we're going back with eBay turbos. But we're going to be taking these off, and we're going to be putting back on the GT45s that I originally had on here. These are a 105 area housing with a T4 flange, whereas the GT35s, if you take a look at them, have a 63 area radius and a T3 flange. The problem we're running into is the naturally aspirated exhaust of a V8 going through a T3 flange just doesn't, I mean, it doesn't cut it. What it's starting to do is it's starting to choke itself out. People always ask me, how do you get that red smoke to come out? You know, are you doing that on purpose? No, I'm not doing that on purpose. I think what's happening is it's getting up there in the upper RPMs and it's starting to choke it out. What we're running into is it doesn't matter what 60 I run. I can run a 1.260 or a 1.560. I can run 24 pounds of boost or I can run 19 pounds of boost. It's going to be the same mile an hour down the track no matter what. It's almost like it hits a rev limiter and it's the same RPM every time going through the track. So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be putting the GT45s back on the car with that bigger exhaust housing, and hopefully that frees the motor up a little bit, lets it breathe a little better, and, you know, solves our problems. I put these on here about a year ago and they rock and rolled. I mean, I don't have any complaints about them. We've gotten faster and faster and progressed with these, and they've been awesome. What we did is we had a race we were going to. We got them in on a Friday night. We put them on a Friday. We fabbed everything up Friday night, finished it up Saturday morning, went to the race, and then we won the whole thing. So we were like, woo, woo. You know, it's the Holy Grail. Well, that was great, and we never thought about it because we kept getting faster and faster and progressing with it. So now we're hitting that wall. And I kind of kicked myself in the tail because the GT45s that I had on here, I never ran them on this car with the trans brake or with this converter or with these gears that are in the back end. And the cam that's actually in here is spec'd for those turbos. So I don't really know. It should be like a brand new car when we put these on here. At least that's what we're hoping for. So without further ado, what we're gonna do is I've already got all the, I've already got all this stuff here, taken off, and I've done all the hard work, got the front end off, I got everything loose. Just have to do a little bit of fab work on the exhaust and on the charge pipe, and we should be able to go racing tonight. At least that's the plan. So what we're gonna do is get the stuff off of here, get these on here, and we're just gonna jump right into it and get to work. Alright guys, turbos are off. Wasn't much of a hassle. Like I said, I already had everything busted loose, so these should go right back in. I didn't change anything as far as the flange settings and everything else. When I took the other turbos off of here, they were in this exact same position. The only thing I have to do is right down here is I may have to extend this coming out a little bit because I had to cut some of that off to get the other ones on there. But otherwise, all this is set up right. All the positioning is set right. Just have to change out the exhaust flanges and change out the charge pipe, do a little fabrication work there, but other than that, it's ready to go. All right guys, here's the difference in the turbo size that I've got. What I had, or what I had, what I've got it, well, this is what I had, what I went to, and now we're going back to what I had. So the compressor size as far as the wheel, not a whole lot of difference on there. This is the biggest difference. The exhaust housing on that versus the exhaust housing on that, and when you look this direction, you can see the difference in the T4 flange, just judged by the hand size, to a T3 flange. Quite a bit of difference. Doesn't look as this is twin scroll versus, the open mount. But everything else, this is a 3.5 inch out versus a 3 inch out. And there is a big difference on the impeller wheel size on this. So hopefully that allows the motor to breathe a little better. We shouldn't have a problem spooling them out with the trans brake on it. But like I said, if it works, we're geniuses. If it's not, we're not out anything. I already had them here, already had everything for it. It's just a little bit of fabrication work. If it doesn't work, we put the other ones right back on it and go back to racing. But we're going to get back to knocking this out. We'll catch up with here in just a little bit and show you what we got done. guys, got everything switched over to these other turbos. Got the drain manifolds and the oil supply manifolds on here. I don't run a restrictor on these. I used to, but it didn't seem to make that much of a difference. These never really smoked. Most of the time when you get a smoking issue on these right here, it's going to be because of your drain line down here. What ends up happening is the hole isn't big enough, or actually the hole in the turbo is bigger than the actual hole on the oil drain manifold. So what ends up happening is it ends up puddling up on top of that shelf and then backs up, and that's what starts you smoking. So what you can do is just kind of grind off the edge of that manifold on the inside of that circle just to give it a little bit of slope for the oil to drain down in there, and that should help some of your problems if you're smoking with these kind of turbos, or any turbo for that fact. So we're going to get these put on now, get to work, and hopefully it doesn't take us that long. Alright guys, turbos are mounted. Well, somewhat mounted. They're sitting up there. They give you kind of an idea of what they're going to look like. I don't know if I've had a picture of this before with these on there or not. I think in the first startup I did. But they're on there. I've got one bolt holding them in. I've got to run up the depot real quick, get some bolts, come back, like I said, and kind of fab up something down here on the charge pipe, cold side, and then I've got to get the exhaust cut off. Waiting for the mail to get here for those parts to come in. Supposed to be here today, so hopefully those come in here pretty quick. We'll get those welded on here, get the charge pipe hooked up, put everything back together, and we'll be ready to go racing. All right, guys, we are back from depot. Got my bolts here, sitting on the ground, and I'm stepping all over car parts here. Spike decided to show up and help out.
I did.
So we're gonna get these bolted down, get the charge pipe put on, get the exhaust cut once those V-vans get here, and we'll be buttoning this thing up and going racing.
So all we gotta do left down here, boys and girls, is hook that little charge pipe up down the bottom to those old turbo hair dryer things. And then it goes in there and it goes on to the pipe. You know how it goes from there. Okay, there's a better look at it. It's right on here.
If I can get some kind of...
You look at a fabricating master at work.
Yeah. Hack job.
Works.
This looks somewhat, so I'm going to go somewhere in this direction. Turbos are on. Charge pipe is all hooked up. See here, we were able to get that one little piece welded in, and then use the same silicone couplings as we had on before. Got everything else taken care of. Now all we're doing is waiting on Amazon.
Amazon Prime.
Yes, sir. Bring me my exhaust flanges, my V-bands, and as soon as that's done, we can.
Otherwise,
Yeah, we can get all that buttoned up and be finished with it.
that's it. Ready to race.
Alright guys, here we are, complete. Front end is back on the car, bumpers on, grill, everything's mounted up, all the methanol is hooked up to it. Still
Waiting on Amazon.
waiting on
I
Amazon.
gotta clean up.
Bring my parts.
Yeah.
Alright guys, after 2 hours putting turbos on and 6.5 of figuring out how to do the exhaust, we are complete. It is all done. Got the blankets
Finally.
on. Looks just like it did the very first time I did this, like a year ago.
Looks and feels like the first time.
Just think about how far apart ahead we would be if we'd have just left it alone.
Left everything alone.
I'm gonna give it a start up here
That's
real quick.
progress.
Make sure everything works right. So here we go.
Here we go. Light it up. Started. Started. Sound good.
Were they spinning?
Yeah, we're spinning.
That's always a bonus if they actually spun and they actually worked.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Started and fired up and turned off. That's all we need.
All right, guys, that's going to do it for here today. If you haven't already, be sure to comment, like, subscribe, and we will catch you guys on the next one.
See you guys.